Welcome to the Live from South College podcast. I'm your host, Kathleen Stockham. The Live from South College podcast is your source for all South College activity, including new student information, deep dives into our 100 plus programs and concentration, tools of the trade, and even live on location from all of our campuses. Great interviews with faculty, staff, deans, and hear from South College students and alumni in their own words. From certificates all the way to doctoral degrees, catch up with Live from South College for the lighter side of helping your dreams find direction. As part of our Dean's List series, my guest today leads an incredible department of physical therapist, occupational therapist, and also two exciting doctoral programs that produce incredible healthcare warriors on the path to making you feel a lot better and more mobile. It is my pleasure to welcome the Dean of Graduate Health Professions, Dr. Christina Odeh. Hi, Dr. Odeh.
Hi, Kathleen. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, I'm excited you're here. I've been looking forward to this. Well, the Doctor of Physical Therapy, otherwise known as DPT, and the Doctor of Occupational Therapy, known as OTD, are two very popular and important programs, not to mention our Associate of Science Physical Therapist Assistant and Associate of Science Occupational Therapy Assistant are also pretty large. Tell us about these programs and where they fit in the healthcare ecosystem.
Oh, that's a great question. Physical and occupational therapy are really vital parts of our ecosystem within the healthcare system overall. So they are really dedicated in helping individuals regain their movement, function, and their independence across the lifespan. So that means from babies born in the NICU all the way up through older adults at the end of their life, right? Like they are really helping people across that entire lifespan. So they might be helping someone after an injury, after an illness. They might have a genetic or a developmental issue. And realistically, our programs are going to cover the broad spectrum of that rehab process, right? So like you said, we have PTA and OTA. So they are 2-year programs that work with the other professions. So PTAs, physical therapist assistants, will work with Doctor of Physical Therapy or physical therapists with patients, right? They work together hand in hand. OTAs work with OTDs, right? The occupational therapists also hand in hand. And the beautiful part of it is they actually work together collaboratively as a team with speech therapists and other rehabilitation specialists to ensure that we really treat the patient as a whole.
That's cool. Well, so I think there's also other pieces and parts of this of trying to understand all the different things. And we'll talk a little bit more about the differences in the program. The Doctor of Physical Therapy, or DPT, is a very popular program. I see these incredible students walking around, and most of them are in outstanding physical shape, and they're always talking, they're always together, they're always studying, there's always great things going on. Why do you think that is? And I definitely want to talk about the fact that this is also a hybrid program. Why do you think DPT is so popular?
Goodness, that is a great question. And I think there's a threefold answer here because I hear you saying, why is it popular? I hear you saying, you see them working together. So we'll talk a little bit about how we keep them together in the hybrid piece too, right? So really, I think DPT or physical therapy has become really popular because we have an increasing awareness of how movement really impacts overall health, right? We have an aging population. We have a need for rehabilitative care. But then we also have individuals who are really engaging in active lifestyles. And that's anyone, again, from children to older adults. And if you're engaging in active lifestyles, that increases your risk of injury that requires physical therapy, which most students will tell you that they come into this program because some sort of awareness. There was something that happened either to themselves or to a loved one that required physical therapy. But more and more, we're seeing that people are turning to physical therapy, not just for rehab, but also for prevention of injury, right? For wellness, for performance enhancement. So you say that they come in great shape. We love to exercise and make sure that we are at the tip top of our overall wellness in our performance in our everyday lives. Every student, bottom line, is going to walk in with their why. And that really serves them well in an incredibly rigorous program. And that leads us to that hybrid nature, right? Because the second piece is, why is our program so popular? I think it's because we have this hybrid 2-year program that's incredibly appealing. It blends the best of both worlds. We have a flexible online coursework, and that's combined with these immersive labs, which is where you're going to see these students running around campus and really engaged in their lab immersives that can be anywhere from, a few days to a few weeks. So that really gives the students the ability to get real world experience while also being able to study from the convenience of their own home most of the year. And so that really helps, I think, with the popularity.
Yeah, I agree. DPT is available at our Knoxville, Nashville, and Atlanta campuses. And I mean, they look like they're right out of central casting going up and down the stairs. I see the music, I see the videos. They look like
Yeah.
they have a lot of fun, but it's got to be a really hard major. So let's switch gears and talk a little bit about the associate program. So the Associate of Science Physical Therapist Assistant, try saying that 5 times fast, works closely with DPTs as well. So tell us about that journey.
Yeah, the PTA program is also a really rigorous and quick accelerated program, right? So our students come in, it's a nice entry into rehabilitation. So the PTAs are essentially going to have about a 1.5-year program, right? So they're going to come in and they're going to learn how to follow a physical therapy plan. So they work hand in hand. So you have the physical therapist that'll do an evaluation, and then you have the PTAs that are going to go in and do the one-on-one treatment with our patients. And the PTA career trajectory is pretty wide. Sorry, I said wild. Wide. I guess it could be a little wild too. Um, so some PTAs, might go on to be a director of rehab or a clinic manager, and some might go on to be an educator in PTA programs. And then actually we have a lot of PTAs that go on to then pursue a DPT later, right? So they use their hands-on experience as a PTA as almost a stepping stone to getting their doctoral degree by coming into, one of our either bridge or hybrid programs.
Yeah, so it's a lot more versatility, I think, than maybe you realize at first as you're looking at it. So let's talk about the different directions, talking about OTA, which is we have the occupational therapy assistant too. So the key question is what's the difference between OTA and PTA? And I know you probably get that question 100 times a day, but what's the difference?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And if you're looking at them, sometimes it seems like there's a lot of overlap, and there is, right? When you're talking about working with humans, there's going to be overlap because you can't pick their bodies apart and say, I'm going to do this and not worry about those other pieces. But a key differential really is like PTAs are going to really focus on physical movement, right? They're helping people regain their strength, their mobility, and their functional independence from that perspective. From a mobility perspective, OTAs are really going to help an individual performing their daily tasks. So, and again, becoming independent and living independently, but really focusing on dressing, cooking, the tasks that they need to do on a daily basis, and also getting back to work. So occupation, what do they do for their job and how is that impacted? How do we get them back to that? And oftentimes they will look at using adaptive equipment to help people be independent in their life.
Oh, that's neat. So they learn how to do all of that, and then they learn how to work with patients. And again, I assume a lot of these students are coming into these programs because they've had personal experience with a loved one or a family member who have needed this kind of help and this kind of therapy. Is that fair?
Exactly. Hmm.
Okay, that makes sense. All right. Well, recently we added Doctor of Occupational Therapy or OTD. What do they do, and why is this role so important?
Another really good question. So,
That's my job. That's my
I
job.
know, I know. This is impressive. So OTD is a little bit different. So occupational therapy has a number of different degrees that you can get, right? And to be an occupational therapist, a licensed occupational therapist, you either have to get a master's of occupational therapy or a doctor of occupational therapy. So our program it's also a 2-year hybrid program at the doctoral level. And that really is helping to prepare students to become an entry level occupational therapist and work with patients. but it's also preparing them in some of their advanced roles within the field, like in research, in leadership, and even becoming specialists within occupational therapy.
Yeah, it's really fascinating that it actually helps sort of crystallize the difference between the different degrees and the fact that you can become a practicing doctor of physical therapy or a doctor of occupational therapy 2 years in a hybrid program. I mean, win win. This is great. So you take
Yeah.
everything you learn and you go back to your community wherever you are. That's awesome. How?
Yes.
So let's talk about you. How did you get interested in this field and what's been your journey?
Well, oh goodness. So my journey goes all the way back to when I was a sophomore in high school. So as a sophomore in high school, my aunt had a baby who had cerebral palsy. And so she lived with us and would take me with her to her therapy sessions. So I actually got to see OT and PT and speech live and in person. Before that, I had no idea who a physical therapist or an occupational therapist was. And I found it so interesting as I would watch the physical therapist work with my little cousin. She would really know what they were doing, why they were doing it, and being able to tell us what they're going to be able to do next. And I just found that so incredibly interesting. I started doing research. And so I can honestly say that since I was in high school, I knew I wanted to be a physical therapist, and I've been a PT for over 30 years. Like, this is the only thing I've known. I love it. I'm passionate about it. And so I've actually ended up treating people across the lifespan. And I find that I really, really, really love working with children, the babies, all the way up through adolescence. And then I really enjoy working with people who are older, like the elderly patients. I just find that what I do as a physical therapist is never the same. Every day is different. And I find that that is the same thing in my role as the Dean of Rehab Sciences. Like, every day is different, which probably helps to keep me on my toes and keep my brain fresh.
Oh, that's awesome. How amazing to be so self-directed at a young age. I don't know of many people I've ever met that have known from that early on at, 13, 14 years old that this is what you wanted to do. But what an imprint to have that child grow up with you and it very much led you to your path. That's fascinating. I mean, do you ever kind of stop and marvel at that? Because again, that's so unusual.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because, over the course of the last few decades and being in education, I think even my perspective of what I went through is unique. And so you would think that that would mean that I would expect my own children, right, to know
Right.
what they want to do and just do it. But yet I think I recognize how how different, and like you said, that experience really imprinted me and made me who I was. But I think it resonated with me at my core. And so for my children, I really want them to explore all the different professions that are out there. So go out there and just try different things and really find the thing that resonates with you. I was lucky because I found that really, really early in my life. And some people, it takes them 20 years. We have students who come back as a second career in physical therapy. They might be in their 40s or sometimes even in their 50s, and they're finding that thing that finally resonates with them. And so I think that's the most important piece is, finding that thing that you love and that you're passionate with. I'm just super lucky. Yeah.
I love that. I mean, again, that's so remarkable that, and that's one of the things that I love about South College is that we're so embracing of non-traditional students, of helping people sort of find if they're, to your point, career changers where they've gone down the quote adult path and having a career in a direction, and all of a sudden they're like, no, this is not what I want to do, and they find their passion, and we're able to really sort of guide and direct them more towards that passion. I think that's amazing. And again, it just sort of fortifies everything that we're about. So, a belated congratulations on becoming the dean. So, what are your plans to help these students find their purpose in rehab sciences?
Thank you for the congratulations. I appreciate that. Really, my goal is to create an environment where students not only learn the science behind rehabilitation, right? Because that's keys. We gotta be evidence informed practitioners, but also discover their unique purpose, just like you said, right? What resonates with you? What about rehab sciences, whether it be OT, PT, speech, what about it are you passionate about, right? So do you want to work with athletes? Do you want to work with children? Do you want to work with older adults? Do you want to do research? Really, I want to provide them with opportunities to explore all of those things. And so that's where I see it, right? I see rehab sciences at South College as being innovative. I see us being hands-on learning and mentorship, really helping students gain skills, confidence, their real world experience that they need to succeed. And really, at the end of the day, right, it's more than just a degree. I'm hoping that what we're doing is making a difference in people's lives.
Oh, I'm almost sure of it. Again, I'm just amazed. I came into this interview having a particular point of view that I understood the two programs, but now I really understand even more. So that's amazing. All right. So sounds like you don't have any, but if you do have a little spare time, what do you find yourself doing?
Spare time. That would be so nice. I will say that when I do have spare time, surprisingly, I love to listen to music. I love dancing. But conversely, I also love being outdoors, right? I like to take walks. I like exploring new cities. I love waterfalls. I don't know what it is about water and waterfalls that just is so relaxing to me.
Mhm.
So love going to the beach, but I don't like going in the ocean because, sharks and all of that stuff.
So I guess we need to stay away from you during Shark Week in August, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I think bottom line, the most important thing to me is my family. So, any spare time that I have, I'm wanting to spend time with them. So whether it be having a meal, playing board games, just chatting, watching TV or a movie, as long as I'm with the people that I love, I think that's the most important piece.
Agreed. Oh, that's amazing. All right. So, fun question. What kind of student were you in school? I have a feeling I know the answer, but what kind of student were you in school?
Believe it or not, I was thinking about PT school and really beyond, or much earlier than that. And I was really the observant student. So I always loved to sit in the front row, but I love to watch. I get an incredible amount of social anxiety, believe it or not. So raising my hand and answering a question was not my favorite thing to do, but super observant and really curious. So I was always watching, I was always asking questions and wanting to really understand the why behind everything. And my mother will tell you that I was the student who, like, she would walk into my bedroom and I would be asleep on my bed surrounded by books, right? Because I went to school when we didn't have computers. So
Right there with you.
literally in the middle of my bed, which is, notebooks and books all surrounding me because just, hard work. I was a firm believer that I needed to understand it. And if I needed to understand it, I needed to dive deep uh, into studies. But for me, I had to find strategies that work, right? So believe it or not, I was the student who we had to ask permission, obviously, but I recorded every single one of my lectures and I would play them back and transcribe all of my lectures because writing it out for me is how I remembered it. I couldn't just read or I couldn't just listen. Like those two things just didn't work as well. So I was very observant and watching, but then I had to go back and really write it out to process it and understand it. I think at a deeper level.
Yeah, same. I was exactly the same way. If I didn't write it, it sometimes
Mhm.
did not attach itself. And, putting a book near my head when I slept didn't work for me, by the way. So I
Under the
tried.
pillow didn't work under the pillow.
No, 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 no. Man, this has been amazing. I have learned a lot, and now I feel like I can finally speak to the differences between the different programs, and also to make sure there are no sharks in your office. So, note to facilities: no sharks in Dr. Odeh's office. I love it. Thank you so much for your time and wishing you all the best in your new role. That's Dr. Christina Odeh. Coming up after the break, we'll chat with one of the OTD instructors and get a deep dive into this emerging pathway for healthcare professionals. Stick around, we'll be right back.
When you start your new career path at South College, you'll join students from different walks of life at varying stages in their lives. Many students are going back to school to finish degrees, while others are pursuing elevated education that will help them improve their potential in their current roles or for chasing a new direction. South College offers over 100 programs and concentrations with specialized focus on associate, bachelor's, master's, educational specialist, and doctoral degrees in healthcare, business, technology, education, and legal studies. We are regularly developing new academic programs based on local, regional, and national trends. Each curriculum is designed to promote development of knowledge and skills in the associated discipline as we challenge and support our students. South College is committed to providing intellectual, social, and professional development to a diverse student body. With locations in Knoxville, Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, Atlanta, Georgia, Asheville, North Carolina, Orlando, Florida, Indianapolis, Indiana, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Dallas, Texas, and Marietta, Georgia, as well as programs delivered through Competency-Based Education, or CBE, and online. We're here with you every step of the way, starting with the admissions process. To find out more, visit South College at south.edu. South College, where dreams find direction.
Welcome back. You just heard about the key roles that a doctor of physical therapy and a doctor of occupational therapy play in the care plan for someone looking to regain mobility and independence. At the center of one of those programs, my next guest is part of the instructional team to prepare our students for this incredible role. Welcome, Dr. Harold Mitchell, faculty instructor for our Doctor of Occupational Therapy at our Atlanta campus. Welcome, Dr. Mitchell.
Hi, Kathleen. Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
Oh, no, I'm excited. We're looking forward to this. So we just heard from Dean Odeh about the key role that OTDs play in the care plan. What more can you tell us about the Doctor of Occupational Therapy?
Yes, that's a great question. I can tell you a little bit more about the Doctor of Occupational Therapy program here at South, which is a new program. Our program is a professional entry-level program designed for individuals pursuing a first-time career in occupational therapy. Here at South, our program is a full-time 2-year program offered in a hybrid format, which combines online didactic learning with in-person lab immersions, fieldwork experiences, as well as a capstone experience that culminates at the end of the program. The program is focused on preparing students to become compassionate, evidence-based practitioners who can work in a wide range of healthcare and community settings. The curriculum is grounded within the occupational therapy practice framework, and it is culminated by a capstone project that integrates leadership, advocacy, or scholarship to address real-world challenges. So we have really put together a program here at South that is going to be immersive for our students, and it's going to be focused not only on the clinical aspects of occupational therapy, but also community practice, which is so important right now within today's society.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. So tell us more about this. This is a relatively new program for South College. So for anyone listening, what is the profile of a strong applicant to this program?
Yes, so South College, we seek applicants with a well-rounded academic background and strong interpersonal skills. A strong candidate looks like a person who has a minimum cumulative GPA of a 3.0 on a 4.0 scale, someone who has completed prerequisite courses in anatomy and physiology, psychology, statistics, and as well as medical terminology. These are all important prerequisites as you're going to be entering into the medical profession. Someone who also has documented at least 24 hours of observation under a licensed occupational therapist, and this can be done virtually or in person. So we are very flexible with our observation hours and how you can obtain them. Lastly, we look for someone who demonstrates a passion for service because we are a holistic profession. We service the entire person, and we look at how those factors impact their day-to-day living, as well as how they impact their families and who they live with. And so this candidate must have a collaborative mindset and must have the motivation to grow as a future healthcare leader. So these are some of the qualities that we're looking for within our candidates, and we're looking to cultivate and to grow the student more. We understand that you may not come in exactly knowing everything that you need to know about OT, but our goal is to help you become a generalist therapist who will be one that is going to grow and be a well-rounded therapist that may also look into specialty areas.
Yeah, that sounds great. Gosh, do you need marketers? No, I'm just kidding. If I had it to do all over again. So tell me, what can students expect in this rigorous 2-year program leading to a capstone project?
It's a great question. Expect a fast-paced, immersive curriculum that combines online coursework in courses such as foundational sciences, therapeutic interventions, and professional reasoning. All of the courses that you'll be taking within the occupational therapy doctorate curriculum we're going to do a reverse lifespan approach. We're going to start with the older adults, and we're going to work all the way to the beginning of life, which is pediatrics. So in addition to you guys having courses that are focused on different populations, you'll learn clinical conditions. You'll learn how to provide interventions for those individuals. And you'll be practicing them at our lab immersions, which are hands-on training in a simulated or real clinical environment. The lab immersions are going to be held on ground at our South College campus here in Atlanta, and it is going to encompass all of the coursework that you've studied so hard over the quarter. And we're going to have faculty members here that are going to guide you and really help you understand the clinical aspects of occupational therapy.
Oh, that sounds great. That sounds
Yes,
great. And I know it's also available at our Knoxville campus too. So if Atlanta is not convenient and Knoxville is better, you can do it there as well. That's great.
absolutely.
That's great.
Yes. And also, we're also going to have 2 fieldwork experiences at the end of your didactic coursework. So those 2 fieldwork experiences, we're going to have 2 of them, and it's going to be 12-week sessions or experiences. And with those experiences, you're expected to be a entry-level general therapist at the end of that experience. So you're going to be paired with mentors who are going to be in the clinical setting, and they're going to guide you into working with clients with various conditions.
Yeah.
Lastly, the capstone experience, that is where you get to showcase everything that you have learned within the OTD program here. And it is an opportunity for you to put forth research and also interact and engage with other professionals to get a better understanding and to help others understand how occupational therapy can impact healthcare and quality of life for all individuals.
Oh, that sounds great. All right. So level with me. How hard is this program?
That's a good question. It is challenging, make no mistake. This is an accelerated program that demands your full-time commitment. Students must be prepared to manage intensive academic content, clinical expectations, and self-directed learning. So within the didactic portion, you guys are going to have lectures that are going to be led by the faculty, as well as asynchronous content, readings, videos, models, activities, all that is going to encompass and basically tie all together what you've learned in the course.
All right. For my listeners, before you go out and Google asynchronous, it means that the instructor and the student are not together at the same time. It means basically that you get that information and you study on your own. So just in case you were wondering what that meant, there you go.
Yes. But also think about program as a professional boot camp for healthcare. It is rigorous but rewarding. So think of it that way. Don't let the rigor scare you. Think of it as a boot camp. We are preparing you. We are here to walk with you in this wonderful profession of occupational therapy.
Oh, I love that. That's a great way to look at it. So let's talk about you for a minute. What led you to becoming an OTD?
Yes, so I was actually introduced to occupational therapy, 20 something odd years ago. I hate to give away my age. Um, but I was introduced to occupational therapy because I had a family member who was born, and we noticed that she had some challenges with the tending to one side. It was later determined that she was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. And so within her diagnosis at an early age, I really paid close attention to the therapies that she participated in. And one day I got off the school bus from high school, and the therapist just so happened to be at the home conducting a session. And I was just so intrigued by the level of interventions that were provided. At first, I was saying to myself, this cannot be therapy because they're doing more playing than actual, therapy. When we think of therapy, we think of going inside of the clinic and,
Mhm.
using different weights or different modalities. But with pediatrics, it was mostly play-based. And I saw so much growth within my relative that it really resonated with me, and I thought that this was a great profession to enter. And so far, it has been such a rewarding profession. And I look forward to working with more pediatric clients, more older adults, because again, occupational therapy is a profession that you can work in across the lifespan.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And that's a really great way to look at it, that it's a life cycle treatment as opposed to I have a cold or I have something else. Okay, see you later. Here's your treatment. I love that. And that's a really interesting way to look at it. And then the pediatric piece as well. So I know when we think about rehabilitation, we don't always think about the pediatric side and that there's children as well. It's not necessarily just geriatric patients. So again, that's amazing. And I mean, is this where you found yourself, or did becoming an instructor, is that just because of the passion in the field, or tell me how you became an instructor?
It has a lot to do with the passion for the profession. I find great joy in helping others learn more about occupational therapy and where they find themselves, finding that niche that is important to them. Within occupational therapy, you can work in just about any setting and you can create any lane for yourself. So if you don't see yourself working in a clinical setting, you can you can create a business, you can be an entrepreneur, you can work in the community. And basically with this program, you're going to learn how to conduct a needs assessment within the community so you can identify where occupational therapy can be best utilized.
Oh, that's awesome. Again, it brings it all full circle from where I started this conversation. Well, this has been amazing. I want to thank both of my guests today and opening the door very wide on two complete pathways to a doctoral degree that truly helps patients recover of all ages and regain their independence. Want to see more? Check out south.edu for more information. Well, that's it for today. With 10 campuses in 7 states, plus online and CBE, there is a pathway for you at South College. Hope you enjoyed this latest and awesome episode with no sharks of Live from South College. Thanks for joining me. We have so much more coming your way very soon. If you love it, give us some stars, and you can always send us feedback by emailing us at southcollegepodcast@south.edu. Have an awesome day and let your dreams find direction. See you next time.